Hi, I'm Angela. I'm from Nations Church Belmont, and I've been attending for a year and a half now. Before I encountered Jesus, I struggled a lot with my identity. I did a lot of things, especially in my uni days, to try and gain validation from other people and just trying to do a million different things to try and prove myself to somebody. And it caused me to have a lot of anxiety and depression and just a lot of burnout at the end of the day as well. Inevitably, I still felt lost and empty. I felt like I was really missing deep and meaningful connections in my life. I found myself wanting to be just somebody's go-to to kind of avoid what I knew, things that I needed to confront about myself. And that also meant that praying was very difficult for me because I didn't feel worthy to sit at his feet, knowing how sinful I've been and knowing how much I've turned away from him. I've always known Jesus my whole life. Growing up in a Catholic home, we did the church every Sunday and pray every night. I grew up with that, but I never really knew him for myself. I never really had a relationship with the Lord, and it wasn't until I took a study trip over to Europe, and at that time I was still feeling really lost and really just trying to figure out what my purpose was. I had somebody who's now a friend, I guess, come up to me and ask me if I was a Christian. I'm not quite sure what it was about that question or what it was about the time that question was asked, but something really sank in me, and realizing I couldn't answer that question truthfully and say yes because I didn't really know him. And then I guess internally that led me to ask myself why I didn't know Jesus and why I had known of him my whole life but not actually having a relationship with him. After that, I guess this snowball effect of curiosity and I guess a fire just lit inside of me to want to know him more and want to seek him more and have that relationship with him. The moment I finally said yes to Jesus, I had just gotten back from Europe and I knew I had to make a change and I knew I wanted something more, so I decided to take that leap and go to church. And I just remember finding Nations Church online, decided to drive to Belmont, and honestly it was very terrifying walking in those doors by myself, but as soon as I was welcomed in and seeing everybody smile and be so inviting, I started to gradually feel less nervous. And I just remember being in worship, crying uncontrollably, and then sitting down to then hear Pastor Gareth speak. Every word that he said just, I guess, hit me so hard. And I remember during the salvation appeal, my heart was beating so fast and I felt so nervous, but I knew then and there that I wanted to say yes to him and say yes to Jesus. So I put my hand up, shaking uncontrollably. I guess I couldn't imagine how I didn't make this decision sooner. Since saying yes to Jesus has been the biggest switch flip of my life. I've never felt so at peace before, and I feel like when people say, when you say yes to Jesus, you experience this peace and love that surpasses all understanding. Every time I've heard that, I never really comprehended it until that moment, and truly that's exactly how I felt and still feel to this day. Thinking about how I was going through life without Jesus before versus going through life with Jesus now, I feel like my mindset has definitely changed, and the way I view things and the way challenges hit me are just so much more different, knowing that I can run to him. I guess, that feeling of being alone and that feeling of validation has completely been stripped off me since knowing him. I am grateful for what Jesus did on the cross because it is the ultimate expression of God's love for us. When I think of every mistake I've made, every time I fell into temptation, every generational hurt and pain or shame that I felt, I just picture the Lord on that cross and thinking of how I don't have to carry the weight of my sin anymore because he paid the price. I will forever be grateful for that, and it is a gift that I don't deserve, but I will eternally be grateful for.